Hello there, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to another episode of the KCBP, Kerbal Community Build Program. And I guess calling it another episode is not really right because it's not an episode. It's a series of different things that us in the community of KSP are doing. We're doing a community builds project type thing. Anyways, my contribution to the current build will be... Well, we'll go into that a little bit later on, but first of all, right now, we are actually looking at something that was left on the launchpad for me. It was a little surprise. I know it was probably an accident. I believe Cake said he didn't mean to leave that there, but, you know, it was there, so I decided to mess around with it. It was named the Minmus Retrieval, and it does get to Minmus, no problem. I did a little bit of testing off camera. Gets Minmus, no problem, still has plenty of fuel. I'm not really sure what it's meant to do, to be honest. Mainly the part that's confusing me is the plane has some parachutes on the front, which wouldn't really work on Minmus, so yeah, I don't know. And the plane doesn't have any sort of propulsion either, so it is clearly supposed to be a glider, which it does very, very well, as we struggle to detach from that one stage. But yeah, I don't know, it was fun, so I decided to mess around with it. It was there, figured might as well, why not? So we're just going to get rid of the parachutes and switch over to this. And it was a fun little plane too. It flies fairly well. As you can see, I have some issues trying to get to flip the right side up, but all good now. And yeah, it's a pretty neat little plane. Trying to actually get it to glide properly. I'm not so good at the whole infinity glider thing. I know you have to like wiggle it left and right to actually get it to accelerate. So I don't know if I'm not doing it right or if it just doesn't work with this plane. But either way, it was fine to fly around. So let's get this guy over to the launch pad because it's what we do. You know, you fly it out and then you got to bring it back home. So how are we going to do with the launch pad? Well, we shall see in just a second. And it was kind of a neat surprise to actually find this thing on the launch pad I don't know, gave me something to do. I mean, I already had plenty to do with this 25-minute long episode was actually about 4 hours worth of video being cut and edited and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it was good times, but it was definitely a lot of fun, especially starting off with some plane action. If there's any people that watch my actual KSP videos that are also watching this, and I assume there are, you'll know that I am amazing, yes, definitely amazing at flying and building planes. I'm not, I suck, like I'm really bad, but it is a hell of a lot of fun to fly, especially when it works fairly well. Look at these stunt tricks right here. We gonna go right through there, because why not? And almost hit the ground, but not quite. We're pretty good. I was actually very impressed by this little plane. Again, like, I don't know if it can be considered an infinity glider because I couldn't personally get it to do that, but that's probably because I suck. But other than that, like, it glides super, super well. You can easily just dip towards the ground, catch some speed, and then move back up, and you're flying out and about. Now, I did notice one problem is that it pulls really, really hard to the right. I don't really know why. I'm sure it's probably it could just be the wheel placement, or it could be several things. But it does pull really hard to the right, unfortunately, which was the reason for us losing that little winglet at the back. But that's okay. We can still land with just 3 wings, right? Right? We don't need any more than that. Oh, we can land with just 2 wings. We can land with just 1 wing, right? Actually, at this point, I was like, you know what? Let's destroy the other wing because look how sick this thing looks now. It's like a hot rod. Yeah. It looks like what are those damn things called? It's like a motorcycle, but not a tricycle, obviously. I guess it is in a tricycle in a way. Anyways, let's actually get into the proper module, what I'm going to be sending out to Duna. So I'm going to be actually sending a couple of things out to Duna. This is part 1. It's the thing at the very top there. It looked like a cross. So I'm going to be sending out the... excuse me. Lose my voice there. I'm going to be sending out the core for the Duna Station, which I set up at an orbit of 65 kilometers. It's roughly a circular orbit in... well, I'm talking about Duna at this point. So It's kind of funny because that was also 65 kilometers. But anyways, yeah, I did set it up around 65 kilometers just to help us out. You know, if we need to get anything from the ground, get it up to the station just to keep it somewhere somewhat nearby. But it's got plenty of fuel and everything. We'll look at it later on. But this is the second part that we are sending up, and it is the little beacon thing. What did I call it? Duna beacon probe. I think it was like Duna beacon something. Yeah, there we go. KCBP Duna beacon. So this will be a little drop ship. That's not really the right wording for it. It's going to be a little thing that goes down to the surface, which will mark the location for the future site of the Duna ground base. And hopefully I put it in the right location. I think I did. I think we'll be fine. But anyhow, we do have to actually join up the Duna beacon with the space station core itself. And I kind of messed up when I was building it. I had intended to send them both up at the same time, but I screwed up a little bit. But either way, it wasn't a big deal. We managed to get that going. And what we're actually doing right here, it's something that I'm very adamant about doing. It's something that I try to do in all my builds, and I recommend that everybody try it as well, because it makes sense to do this, and it looks better. Basically what I'm getting at is try to deorbit everything. Just deorbit anything you're not going to use, even if there's a little bit of fuel left in it. If it means that by using that fuel, you will then not be able to deorbit it, then you might as well use the fuel and get rid of it, and just account for that. So always make sure that you have a little bit extra, just to have, just in case you need to pump a little fuel into a bottom stage so it can drop down into the sea or wherever. Anyways, we have now arrived at the core, the Duna Station Core. And this thing is... Okay, so the top part is the actual Duna beacon, that tiny little thing with the solar panel, the lander legs, the parachutes, that little thing at the top. And that solar panel is the bestest solar panel in the world. It's like, it's supposed to be an umbrella type thing, but it doesn't work out too well. You'll see later on. Anyways, and then we have the bottom stage there. There's a little bottom part, I guess. And that is going to be there to actually give us a little bit of extra fuel for the launch stage. So for the launch stage for the Duna core, the white part at the bottom there. So we're going to need to put a little bit of fuel in that, because I actually had to drain fuel out of the orange tank as well. It was just poor design, I guess you could call it. I didn't really do a lot of testing with this launch stage. So yeah, so we had to bring up a little bit of extra fuel as well. And, might as well, a little bit of extra fuel. It's not going to hurt anybody. And we brought that up just to, I think it was maybe like 10 units of fuel that I even used, just for the sole purpose of deorbiting the launch stage, which we will do in just a second. But first we're going to attach that other little part to the bottom there. And I totally forgot how much fun docking is. It's a little frustrating at times, but when you get it, I don't know, it's just, there's something about it, especially with the music playing in the background. It's just kind of calming, unless you're like knocking your ship against the other ship several times, which definitely does not happen in this video at any point. Anyways, so as you can see here, we have actually done the deorbit burn, so we're just gonna take the rest of the fuel that we had in the bottom stage, bring it back up to the top. Not that 1 unit of fuel really matters, but it's definitely gonna help. So yeah, we're gonna do that and detach the bottom stage, and goodbye. So that is another piece of debris that's gonna be crashing into the planet. Good stuff. Now, this interplanetary stage was kind of weird. I honestly don't know why I put a Poodle engine on the bottom. Yeah, absolutely no idea. I figured it was maybe going to be there just for emergencies, but we don't really need it, and those 2 nuclear engines are good enough, so I don't know, it was just extra weight for no reason. But anyways, before we head out into interplanetary space, it's time to go hit up the Kerbin fuel depot. We haven't been here in a while, and I don't think we've actually used the fuel depot for its intended purpose, which, well, in this case, we will. And I didn't actually bring a refueling mission back up there, so I haven't filled up the fuel depot, which probably should do. Maybe I will, or maybe somebody else can do it. No, I'll get on that. Maybe. There's still the reason why I'm kind of iffy about it. There's so much fuel on at the fuel depot that I don't really know if it's necessary yet, but it probably will be soon. Anyways, here we go with this super, like, I don't understand what is going on through my head sometimes. For some reason, I thought it'd be easiest to try to dock like this. Yeah, don't ask me why. Why didn't I go on the other side where I had light? Why didn't I use one of the bigger ports, which would have made it so much easier? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so there's going to be a few attempts here to actually try to dock with that. I think it took me about 20 minutes to get this damn thing docking. It wasn't even that I was suffering frame rate issues. I mean, there were some, because at this point I think there's a good 300 parts in this general area. Maybe less. But either way, it was a little frustrating, let's just say that. And mostly because I decided to dock all weirdly. But anyhow, we are docked. At some point, we will be docked. And yeah, if you guys don't know, which I'm sure most of you do, but I figure I might as well drop some advice in this video. Docking is so much easier so if you have the problem of two ships not actually attaching, they're just kind of, the docking ports are just kind of, just touching each other, just having a good time, but not actually getting in there. Let's try not to make this overtly sexual. But anyways, yeah, if the docking ports are just sort of wiggling about and not actually connecting to each other, then it's best to turn off RCS and SAS and just let it get together. It'll do its thing. Just gotta give it time. Alrighty. Anyways, we have sunset. What am I talking about? Sunrise over Kerbin, and we head to the south. What the hell? That's not where Duna is. Well, we're gonna make a little bit of a stop first before we actually head to Duna, and you can probably figure out where we're going. But if you can't, then we will show you in just a second. Nice little shot there of the departing station. And hello, Minmus Base. This is the Minmus ground base. We have Nauthy Kerbin over there. He is going to be going out for a little trip. He is going to be the first Kerbal, whatever. He's going to be the first green dude on Duna. So we are actually going to use a shuttle that was left behind. I believe this shuttle was made by Spirit Dragon, I think. Crap, man, I can't remember now. But either way, we are using part of the things that we have made, and I think that was really I spent 4 hours, maybe 5 hours working on this video, and I think I had so much fun with it because I was able to use all these different things that we've actually built. And this is the whole point of the project, is to, initially you can't really do anything, you just gotta kind of have to piece things together. But you get to a certain point where you're able to start using things that are already in the universe or the galaxy or whatever. Just, you're able to start using things that are there, like the fuel depot or this shuttle and things like that. And you're actually able to use it for missions to keep improving the project that you're working on, the KCBP in this case. So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was really fun to me, just being able to use all these different things. Not having to do just, because initially I had actually recorded the video and I just did a straight up flight to Duna, just boring, direct to Duna, nothing else. And that was fine. It would have worked just fine, but, this is a bit more interesting. So, anyways, we are going to get ourselves into Minmus orbit here. We came in at a really weird angle, which is why I'm burning at a strange degree as well. But yeah, we came in, we were almost in a polar orbit. Thankfully, it is Minmus, so it doesn't take a lot of fuel to actually get yourself where you're supposed to be. So we'll just get ourselves in a little intersect there with the little shuttle, where Nauthy Kerbin resides currently. And I did cut out a lot of material, a lot of just encounters and docking and things like that, because it's really not that important. I try to leave in as much of the useful info as possible. And at this point, I was actually confused because I totally thought that this lander didn't have a probe, and I couldn't find it. I don't know where the probe is. I think it's at the very top, but I'm not certain. So there is definitely a probe body on there, which is awesome because we can bring it back down to the ground base. Initially, I was just going to leave it up there for another Kerbinaut to go grab. Anyways, we make it back down to the ground. Nice little touchdown. And are we good here? I don't know. We're kind of far away. Let's take a little skip over. Yeah, there we go. I love Min-Miss. I love just being able to use so little thrust just to do things. You know, it's fun. You get to like hover around and have fun with it that way. And it's super easy to just control, and you don't have to worry about going too fast or too slow, or, you know, Min-Miss is awesome. If anybody has trouble with anything, if you have trouble with landing, if you have trouble with taking off, if you have trouble with docking, things like that. Actually, I guess docking wouldn't really work on Duna or Min-Miss. But yeah, if you just have trouble, especially with trouble with landing, go to Min-Miss and figure it out there. Because it is a little bit different, because you're going to be super bouncy compared to how you normally would be on basically any other planet other than... Crap, man, which one? Oh, is it Pole? Or is it Ba? I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember, but I know one of those has super low grav. I think it's Bop. Anyways, hey, Duna encounter! I kind of completely talked over the encounter, but there's nothing all that fancy there. We initially had an encounter of, I don't know, I think it was like 30 million kilometers or something, and through a couple of course corrections, or mid-course corrections, we were able to get ourselves into a relatively good orbit, or not orbit, but trajectory, so we were only just under 1 million kilometers, and then a little bit more burning, trying to get that orbit to get itself aligned properly. Well, we're going to try to get the orbit to be on the same plane as Ike, so we'll try to keep it flat if at all possible. It's kind of hard to tell from this far away, but it's definitely happening. So I was able to actually get it under 15 kilometers, so we can aero brake, or sorry, we can aero capture on Duna, or using Duna. So yeah, look forward to that. I should have actually gone a little bit lower. Yeah, I definitely should have gone a little bit lower. I should have gone around 10 kilometers. But I couldn't remember how much aero braking I needed to do. Aero capture, not aero brake. I always gotta correct myself. Anyways, yeah, here we go. So this is we're coming out of the periapsis right now. So as you can see, we're still in the atmosphere. We're still lowering the orbit, or the apoapsis, I guess, which doesn't technically exist right now. But it wouldn't have been enough, or we would have just been in a super eccentric orbit that it wasn't worth it to actually just wait for the aero capture to do its thing. So figured I might as well use the engines. We have a ton of fuel in there. There is one weird design decision that I made, and this was actually a decision. I decided not to put any fuel lines from the center fuel tank to the outside ones, because that way you can use the Poodle engine separate from the nuclear engines. And that was, I don't know why I decided in the first place to even have that Poodle engine, because I don't use it, but I figured it might be good to have in just an emergency, have a little bit of extra thrust. So anyways, as you can see, we get ourselves up into a nice little orbit there, 65 kilometers, roughly circular. I can't remember what we decided to leave the station at, so it's going to be at 65 for now. But there is plenty of fuel. As you can see, there's still... What does that say? My window is too small. I think it's like 2,400 units of fuel still left. So we still have half the fuel that we brought out here. So yeah, more than enough. And most of it is in the orange tanks anyways. Or orange tank, I guess. Alright, well now it's time for the exciting part of the video. It is time for Nauthy Kerbin to make his way down to the surface. Get his umbrella going. And yeah, it's a little busted. Yeah, I'm so upset that I messed this up. I should have put the solar panel just one more piece up. So what I used the little, crap, what are they called? The little modular girder thingies, the tiny ones, the super tiny ones. And I only put 2 of them. I should have put 3, because as you can see, it's kind of interfering with the seat, and it's kind of pushing against the back of his head. And when we get down to Duna, you will see exactly what that means. As it is right now, it's totally fine. Yeah. Try not to clip things, even though it looks like things clip just fine. Try not to clip things. It's not the greatest of ideas. Anyways, though, we set ourselves up for Duna landing. We are going to try to land in a little valley over there. I believe that's the valley that we chose. It's along the equator, and it looks like the valley, but I can't remember. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the valley that we decided on. And if it's not, well, it is now. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but, you know, it kind of does. No, I'm just kidding. If we want to change it, if you want to set up the Duna base somewhere else, that's totally cool. But, you know, I think that's the one. It's the valley right on the equator. Anyways, so yeah, we set it up for... I believe I set up the periapsis to go down to about 10 kilometers. But this is actually on the first attempt because this whole damn thing was... This was the most frustrating part of recording this whole video. It was just... It wasn't that I had a problem getting down, it was that I was having problems actually landing. And don't worry, I left everything in. I did speed it up quite a bit, as you might be able to tell by the wicked music that we got playing right now. But yeah. Part of it was just the design. Having only 3 parachutes with 1 in the back while there were 2 on the sides meant that it'd be a little bit off balance. But the actual probe itself is a little bit off balance anyways. It hangs to the back, or it pulls to the back, I guess, because of the damn thing, what's it called? The comm dish. So it pulls to the back a little bit, so I figured having a parachute back there would actually even that out. It worked mostly fine, but not totally fine. And really the roughest part was trying to land on this damn hill right here. I mean, you should never try to land on a hill. If you have a choice, go for a valley. And, you know, I figured I would be totally cool. I'd be able to get into that valley, no problem. But no, I kept messing it up, and then the damn thing kept tipping over. It kept falling to the side. So eventually I figured I would adjust my trajectory so I'd actually come inside the valley. Right in the middle of the valley. We should have no problems this time, right? Should be totally fine. That's my favorite part right there. Oh, sorry, that was a weird snort laugh. Anyways, when I open the parachutes and the thing just goes spinning, I can only imagine what the poor little Kerbal's thinking. And there's another tip over. Even though we land in the damn valley, we still tip over. And a big part of that was because of the SAS and the RCS were kind of fighting against each other. So you got to be really careful when you land with parachutes and you have RCS and SAS going at the same time. Just be careful, because they'll fight against each other, or they'll fight against the parachute, and it just... Basically, SAS and parachutes don't work super well, but sometimes it's necessary, like in this case. And did we make it? Nope. Nope. Son of a bitch. It was, yeah. Anyways, this was the actual successful landing. So much easier than the other ones. Just look how good that looked. And let's get the thing going, the solar panel umbrella thingamajobber. Yeah, are we fine? We're totally fine. No, we're not. Stupid Nauthy. That thing is so damn fragile, I have no idea how he broke it. He just jumped into it, and it broke. At this point, I'm just sitting there like, seriously? You gotta be kidding me. Let's walk over and, yep, that thing is definitely broken. But you know what? I don't care. I'm not doing this again. I think this was the 5th or 6th try. I may have cut out actually a couple of tries. But this is the location of the future Duna base. Cannot wait. So yeah, that's actually about it for my build. I know I didn't really talk about the core much at all, the Space Station Core, but it's very, very typical core. It has power, it has lights, it has plenty of docking ports. It's nothing out of the ordinary, and I'm sure we'll see more of it in other people's videos, as well as this little lander thing. This was more of an introduction thing to the Duna project. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know and check out the other videos. Take care.